it's my pleasure to introduce our next panel discussion, After School, What Young People Have to Say. Please welcome to the stage our moderator, Dr. Carrie Lobman. Carrie is Associate Professor at Rutgers Graduate School of Education. She is the author of a number of books and articles on play, performance, and after school, including Democracy and Development, the role of outside of school experiences in preparing young people to be active citizens. Carrie has been spending her sabbatical year here at the Flam Center. Please welcome her to the stage, along with her panelists, Malachi Muhammad, Claudia Glaude, come on up, young people, Sherida Hinkson, Saleem Taahaa, Amani Abdul-Majid, and Josmar Adamus.
I grew up in Manhattan in a relatively privileged middle-class family, and I became a teacher when I was 22 and worked at a preschool in Greenwich Village in Manhattan. And I met the All-Stars when I was 22, 23 years old, and it has become my passion to bring the play that I saw in the preschool classroom to everybody else. And so the All-Stars has been a natural home for me. And in the last 12 years as an academic, I have been on a crusade to help give some recognition to the work that many of you do. Play, its natural home is not in school. That's not what's been created over the last 3,000 years. But its natural home is outside of school. That's where we play when we're children. It's where we play when we're teenagers. So we have to give some recognition to that because it doesn't have it. To the extent that there's a field of after school or research on it, it's designed to limit it by tying it tightly to the school curriculum. There has not been nearly enough research to discover and give expression to the development that we heard being talked about up here. So I've gotten to spend this year talking to young people about what that means to them, and now we're going to bring that to you. So thank you all. How are you? Good. It's great to be here. We spent a little bit of time together. That was yesterday, right? Day before yesterday. It seemed longer ago. And I love that our conversation built. By the end, we didn't want to stop talking. We had to stop. So let's just continue that conversation. They're here with us, but we're going to keep going with our conversation. So what I'd like you to do is each of you, why don't you each introduce yourself, say how old you are, where you live, and just a little smattering of what after-school activities you've been involved in. Okay? Why don't we start with you, Josmar?
Good morning. My name is Josmar Adamus. I am 18 years old. I live in Irvington, New Jersey. I recently graduated from Irvington High last Friday, and I am involved in a lot. I was currently involved in 15 clubs. So, like some JROTC, All-Stars program, CNL Upper Bound, ROTC, track, and other programs like that, so.
Thanks.
Good morning. My name is Amani Abdul-Majid. I'm 22 years old. I work part-time on staff here at the All-Stars. And when I was in high school, after school for me was things like track. I did programs like TNT, which is Teens Networking Teens, very much with sports, and a few others like art clubs and things of that nature.
Hi, my name is Claudia Glaude. I am 16 years old. I too currently graduated Thursday from North 13th Street in Newark. I plan to attend Rutgers University as well, and I too have been doing a lot of after-school programs. Many of them are from my church, so I'm a part of the dance group at my church. I'm a part of the theater group at my church as well, and the choir. And at school, I'm a part of National Honor Society, Student Council, and I do a lot of sports as well with my school. So I just try to, pick my hands in anything that I can obviously do, just to kind of get the feel of the environment.
My name is Sherida Hinkson. I'm 16 years old and I'm from Irvington, New Jersey. I'm a rising junior at Bloomfield Tech, and I don't do as many clubs as Josmar, but I'm in 2 sports, softball and basketball. I do the All-Stars program, teens networking teams, honor society, and other things.
Good morning. My name is Malachi Muhammad. I am 17 years old, and I am now a junior at Malcolm X Shabazz High School. I live here in Newark, New Jersey, and most of the clubs I've done, starting from youngest, I've done soccer, I've done flag football. There was one I forgot to mention yesterday. It was at North Star Academy. They have this thing where they have a group of leaders, and I was part of what they call the leadership cadre. You were supposed to be a role model for the rest of the students. So I achieved that. Other than that, I've never really been in any other clubs.
But you've been here, right?
I've been here at the All-Stars, so.
Don't worry about it, Shaheen. Don't worry about it.
And my name is Saleem Taahaa. I'm 18 years old. I am a senior now at University High School. And as far as clubs go, I have been in the French club, the Spanish club. I've done soccer. I've done football. I've also took a dance class. A couple, actually. That's about it.
And you've been here.
Yeah, no, I've also been, I apologize, I've also been here.
Great. Thanks. So you can tell they're experts. So the rest of my questions are for us to get their expertise. So you all listed a lot of different activities that you've participated in. And when we talked yesterday, that's been from when you were relatively young through to now. Sort of a double question. Why? Why do you do all these things, right? What drives you to that? And what has it meant to you? What's it given you to participate in after school? And just to remind you, you don't all have to answer everything, and you can ask each other questions.
All right, well, the reason why I joined clubs is because I like to be part of a big group, and I like to help other people. And so that's mainly why I joined different clubs.
Okay, I guess I'll follow along. To be honest, I don't like being home and I don't like being bored. So I've joined a lot of clubs to kind of challenge myself, because I believe school is not like, it doesn't challenge me enough. So I like to do more things out of that to help to challenge and develop myself. So I like doing after school programs, and it kind of like, it makes me a better person, I could say, because I'm always the type of person who wants to evolve, and doing these after school activities helps me develop and kind of evolve into the better person which I want to become.
Just to kind of piggyback off of that, definitely I did a lot of programs that weren't academically based, just from the standpoint of when you do like an academic program, you're graded on it. You know exactly what the curriculum is. It's very set. You have to do this, you have to do that. But with like say sports or like art clubs, those are things that aren't, it's not like a weighted scale. It's kind of to you. You have to be able to reach that level of success and whatever that means to you. So it would give you the individual challenge. And I think that was something very important to me.
For me, my family is not that big, and I'm a social person. So seeing the same faces every day, it's not my type of thing. So I join a lot of things to, one, meet new people, because I like to, see more than just my personality, or more than just the personality that my family has, as well as networking. I feel as though if I just stay in my little bubble, I won't be able to, as Josmar said, evolve. And you have to be able to meet new people in order to grow. And so that's my mindset of not exactly the way that I put it. That's not what I started with. But I did start with meeting new people, because I knew that meeting new people is basically the first step to something big. So that's what I wanted.
Can you share somebody that you've met that you wouldn't have met if you weren't involved in after school or outside of school program, and what that experience was like?
Well, All-Stars is definitely one big thing, because in the summer I did my internship, which definitely gave me the opportunity to network with my supervisor, who I still keep in contact with, and who, she knows many new people. So she knows a lot of new people, and she meets new people every day. So because of that, she kind of, keep in contact with me and let me know, hey, I think this would be a great person for you. And so if it wasn't for All Stars that got me the internship, I wouldn't have met my supervisor, who therefore allowed me to connect with other people out there. So thanks.
I do after-school programs a lot because, like many other people said, I don't like to be at home. I get bored really easily. So as a way to keep myself engaged with everything, or basically doing nothing with my life after school, I could be one of those kids that go home, go to school, go home, go to school. That's really pointless, and you're really not getting anything from it. So I do a lot of programs because, specifically I had one teacher tell me that there are two educations you need in life, and one of them is the one you get in school, and the other one is the one that you get on your own. And I think that doing after-school programs is basically exposing me to a lot of things and giving me the second education that I need.
Well, most recently, the reason why I do after-school clubs and stuff like that, most recently, track is for my health. There are many different benefits to being in clubs, because for one, there's more to life than being in school. In school, you get a certain officialized education, an officialized way of thinking. But when you get into a club, you get to meet more people. You get to know their philosophies and what they think. That's why we have philosophies, because people were able to connect with each other and go out in the world and discover what other people think and what other people do and other cultures. See, once you broaden your horizons and you go out into the broader world, that's how you evolve, like I believe you said. And that's how you evolve, that's how you update and always renew yourself. It's by going out rather than being at home, going to school, being at home, going to school, being at home, going to school. You get your health better, your happiness, which also helps your health. You basically live life instead of being bored. And
You talked a lot about boredom yesterday as your driving force. So I think, to me, it was, I know we've laughed each time we've said the word bored, but I actually took that very seriously when you said it yesterday, that's a challenge, and that life, that boredom was painful to you. It wasn't just oh, I'm bored, but that it was actually a painful experience. So I know I shared with you that the All-Stars started because kids didn't have anything to do, and their parents wanted them to have something to do. So I just wanted to stress the boredom is not just a throwaway to me. Great. Can you, one of the things that our panelists before, somebody said, I can't remember, and I know I've used this phrase and I've heard you use it, is that one of the things that's happened for you in outside of school programs is that it's helped you go outside your comfort zone. So can you share, some of you share experiences of going outside your comfort zone and what that was like, both in terms of its uncomfortableness and the positive things maybe that came from that for you?
I guess I'll start off. I've always liked to speak, but not in front of a lot of people. So All Stars allowed me to do that because a lot of times we had presentations that we had to present. I remember we have a 13-week program, and within the 13-week program, there's different things that you have to do, and one of them was to talk about yourself or present yourself to a crowd of people. And I did not want to do that. So, but I had to, because that was a part of All Stars. It was a part of opening up. So once I got to do that, a lot of people were like, oh, you did a good job. And I was like, yeah, I guess so. So, but basically that was the start for me, just being able to speak in front of a group of people. And because that opened me up, it opened up new doors for me, because then people wanted me to speak more, and I guess that's why I'm up here today. So, so yeah.
I think for me, it happened at a really young age. I must have been, I think it was third grade, third and fourth grade. I was in a gifted and talented program at my elementary school, and we entered this national challenge, and you had to create a play in We had, I think, like 3 to 6 minutes or something. And all these weeks to prepare for it, but it came down to like 3 to 6 minutes that you had to put on this play. And we went to Mount Olive. And I live in East Orange, so little, 9-year-old me went to Mount Olive. We went to their elementary school, and it was like the size of what our high school was, what East Orange Campus High School is. And for me, that was just like, my school was maybe like the size of what the Flam Center is. And to go into an elementary school that was the size of a high school and had like that not biology, but like a science lab and all these things, and I just had a desk. So it was scary for me to go and put on this performance that we thought up in our very small space to, this school that had all these things. And it almost made me feel like, I don't know that what I have is good enough to give them. But we ended up placing, so it was really, really great, but it was definitely like an experience where coming just straight out the doors, I wasn't sure that we could, be on the same level. And that's definitely helped me to grow. And from the standpoint of, there are many things that you can walk into a situation and doesn't necessarily look like you can do it, but you're just as great or greater.
I guess my situation comes from when I got out of my comfort zone was in track, because I started track in 9th grade. And so when I first ran track, it wasn't pleasant, because I remember my coach put me in a mile, which I never ran a mile before, a mile race. And so it was in the New York Armory, and it was like a lot of people watching. So all the bleachers were filled with athletes and parents and friends and families, and they were just all looking at me at this mile. My first race, I was like, oh well, here we go. And then once the gun went off, I ran full speed. I didn't pace myself, didn't do any of that, and that kind of like allowed me to realize my strengths and weaknesses. And I got lapped by like the whole race. And so that kind of taught me how I'm strong in some things and weak in other things. And so after doing track for 4 years now, I've learned I focus more on my strengths, and that uncomfort zone became my comfort zone now, and I'm ranked 3rd in the state for 110 hurdles in track now.
Josmar, I know I said yesterday I wasn't going to ask for comparisons to school, but I just want to ask you, the thing you said about that it allowed you to see what your strengths and weaknesses are. Is that an experience, it seems to me that's an experience you can only have when you're making choices. So is that different than in school for you, or do you know what I'm asking? Not really. Yeah, as I said it, I realized I didn't know what I was asking either. So
Actually, I have an answer.
don't worry about it for now. If it comes to me, I'll ask again.
Okay.
Actually,
Anybody else want to,
No, for what you just asked, I kind of feel like when you're in school, because of the way a curriculum is set up, the officials tell you what your strengths and weaknesses are. But in like sports, like with track, you have to find that out for yourself.
Thank you. Thank you for making me look good. Anybody else want to speak to the comfort zone?
The biggest time that I've been like thrown out of my comfort zone was when I got sent to camp, and it was a leadership camp in East Rutherford. It's called LMTI, or Lindsay Meyer Teen Institute, and that was my first time being away from my parents, where they hadn't explored the place first. So basically I spent 5 days there, and I remember like the minute I stepped off the bus, this girl named Catherine, she came up to me and she's like, "Do you want to fight evil with me?" And then she had like this like lightsaber.
I don't think they could hear you. That's a great line. Say it.
"Do you want to fight evil with me?" And then I'm like, why are you, I don't even know who you are. And she was with this lightsaber, and she's like, "Here." And then we're running through the camp, like pressing this button, making this sound, and I'm like, I was so lost. And I remember that night when I went to sleep and I woke up, like, when you're so exhausted, you just pass out. So I just woke up and I'm like, I almost screamed my head off because I didn't realize I wasn't home. So that was like the biggest culture shock for me, because I just met kids from all over New Jersey, and it's just, it was a lot to take in.
Well, I never really had to step out of my comfort zone. Like, the only thing I've been pushed to do is like speak louder, speak clearly, because I had a bad, well, I still kind of have it. I have a bad habit of kind of like rambling or mumbling, and so people can understand me. Like right now, I'm speaking clearly right now because All-Stars also pushed me, besides my parents, to stop mumbling, speak up. It's not that I mumble, it's I just speak low. Never mind. But anyway, so I've been pushed to not do that. But as far as like a comfort zone, I've never really been pushed.
I think most people would agree that is a comfort zone. So, have you graduated from the Development School for Youth here at the All-Stars?
Right.
And you're about to do your internship, or you did it already?
Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to do it next year.
Okay.
But
We'll bring you back to talk about that.
so April of 2014, I graduated from Development School for Youth.
So this is a slightly different question, but related, I think. So how is participating in some of these different activities that you're talking about impacted on how you relate to other aspects of your life? To your family, to your community, to school, friends? Has it had an impact on who you are in relation to other people in other parts of your life?
I guess being involved so much helped me build my confidence, because I'm usually it helped me build confidence in track, because I feel like since I'm from an urban area, I'm able to compete with students from suburban areas, and I have like a level playing field with them. And then it's not about economic wealth, it's not about social status, it's all about what your abilities are on a track field. And I kind of took that out of track and applied it in different aspects of my life. So now kind of I feel like I can compete with other students from around the world on a playing field.
I'm not quite sure if this will answer the question, but I guess I have a little story or scenario I could say. So in the summertime, I did my internship with All-Stars, and my church also have a VBS, which is like a vacation Bible school for the little kids. And I would come in to kind of volunteer and help. So, business attire, coming from work, and my friends would ask me, where are you coming from all dressed up? And me bragging about All-Stars, I would tell them, yeah, I got an internship and a job, and, just speaking highly of it. And so that went on a couple of days. And so now the people at my church kind of view me as Miss Business Lady. So I kind of, from that, I guess I can say it brought me out more. Mm-hmm. And I kind of like the whole business look. So I don't know if it really answered your question.
Oh, it did. Very beautifully. Anything else?
Go ahead.
Oh, well, there were three I forgot to mention. Well, two, because I haven't done them long enough. And one, I did martial arts. I did martial arts. I've done journalism and then gymnastics. So gymnastics, I've met people. I've been able to meet and speak with people. Journalism, I've been able to discuss things with people. But the most important one was martial arts and how it influenced me as a person. It taught me to be a strong person. It taught me to be an alert person, because that's one of the main things they teach. It's like when you're out in the street, you have to be aware of your surroundings, always be in touch with nature, things like that. So as a person like me, I always notice and I always observe people, how they act, things like that. I'm always alert. I'm always on, I stay on my square, as they say. I'm never unalert of anything. I pay attention even though I don't seem like I'm paying attention. So that's how it's influenced me as a person.
For my influence, I would say the different settings that I've been able to meet people in. So whether it's like, a play, or it was sports or a job, whatever the case, it teaches you just all how to interact with so many different groups. So when you come to a new setting, sometimes there's those familiar parts that I've met that before. So maybe I know how to deal with this situation, or it broadens how you're able to communicate with people, even if you're still working on communicating.
If there's anything I got from my from my after school programs, is how to be more confident, because I'm a shy person. And also from interacting with so many different people, it also has allowed me to gain a tolerance to other people's actions. And I can relate this to my house because I have a lot of brothers and sisters. So now I can understand them more and yeah.
Great, thanks. All right, now it's your turn. If you have any questions for the young people, let's open this up a little bit.
Feels like y'all guys have all been.
Can you stand up just so the people in the back can hear you?
So it seems like you all were looking for these opportunities to be engaged. How do you engage students who aren't necessarily looking for those opportunities or don't even know that they are interested in those opportunities?
All stars. Honestly, that would be my answer. Well, I mean, depending on their age, of course, but say just the development school for youth, it kind of exposes you, it definitely exposes you to situations and things that you might be interested in but have never even heard of, or it introduces you to something that you really can walk away from and say, I've tried it and I don't like it.
To answer your question, I was always saying I'm always advocating for my clubs, all of them. So either when I'm in class, I'm like, oh, join the track team. You never know if you'll like it, or other things like that. So I'm always advocating for my clubs. You never know what you like unless you do it. I mean, you have nothing to lose if you try it, because then you can always quit if you don't like it. So I'm always advocating around my friends and my school peers.
Were you saying, you had mentioned engage. Are you speaking of someone who does not know but is willing to, or someone who's kind of rebellious and stubborn and don't want to do anything? Both? Okay, so on the first part, someone who doesn't know, as those two mentioned, I would, brag about, or not brag, but I would speak highly of the after-school programs that I'm in and let them know and tell them that it's a good thing for them to join. However, on the other case, for someone who's kind of stubborn and just don't want to do anything, I'm not quite sure how I'd be able to do that, because you can't really force anybody to do anything. There's a saying that says you can only bring the horse to the water, but you can't force them to drink. So that's something that I kind of live by, so I can guide them and tell them and speak highly of the programs that I'm in, and hopefully that they can join. But if they don't want to, I kind of don't know how I'll be able to do so.
Make them thirsty. And sell it.
In the slightest way.
Say what you mean by that.
Yeah.
If you bring the horse to the, I learned that in I had a sales job before, and that was one of the things that they told me. Even sometimes you can sell someone on their own dream. It's not necessarily that they even need the water, but you just want to engage them in the way of, this is really, really great. You tell them all the benefits. Even when I tell some people about DSY, I tell them about the internship first, and then the fact that it's kind of hard to get there.
That's what I was just about to say. For the TNT program, I'm the advisor.
Say what TNT is.
Teens Networking Teens. And it's basically an exposure program. So my school district is the Essex County Vocational Technical School District, meaning that any student throughout Essex County can go there, and I go to school in Bloomfield. So since we all come from urban areas, the whole goal of the program is to expose youth to opportunities that they wouldn't normally have. So when I'm telling the incoming freshmen to join, I usually tell them oh, we get to go on this trip, we get to do this. So I basically kind of coax them into coming, or I just, like Amani said, I tell them all the good things first, and then basically if they stay, they stay. But when you tell someone the good things about it, they don't really notice that it's kind of a struggle to continue in a program because they just look at the ultimate goal.
Personally, sometimes I'll listen in on other people's conversations, and then I'll try to mention something to them, or I'll purposely, if I had a DSY session, and I'll out of nowhere for no apparent reason say, oh, I gotta go to DSY today, I forgot, knowing that I didn't forget. So people be like, oh, what's that? It's this, that, and the other, and I'll get into a whole conversation with them. And as far as people who are stubborn, I kind of agree with Claudia. There's nothing you can really do. With me, if I was to talk to a person who was stubborn about doing something, I would tell them realistically, if you don't do anything with your life, you're not going to get anywhere. And after that, you cannot help them with anything else. Like, you have to be realistic, and especially if you know their circumstances and you know there's circumstances that surround you and the group of people that you're in. You can, I'm not saying we can't really tell anyone's future, but you can predict what predicament that they're going to be in if they don't do this. It's like telling someone you can either take this path or this will happen. Either you want this or that. It's either one or the other. So which one do you want to choose? And if they still don't want to listen, the only thing you can do is walk away. So.
Yes.
Thank you all for being here. Congratulations on this program.
Thank you.
Which is what my question is. You've been around a lot of adult facilitators, I imagine, in these programs. And I wonder, from a student perspective, what do you think makes a good facilitator or advisor or mentor versus somebody who's not as effective?
Someone who cares about you, someone who takes the time to plan their course according to you. Now, I'm not trying to say that the world revolves around us, because it doesn't. But at the same time, if we have someone there to guide us and take the time to actually guide us, then I think that that's a great mentor. Because a mentor is basically someone who's there to mentor you or advise you or guide you. And someone who actually takes that time to do so is a great mentor.
Okay.
Let's get the question. That was a great answer.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you all for being here. So you've all talked about how you kind of are ambassadors for the various things you do. Do you have somebody that you brought to these programs, particularly a little bit easier, I suspect, in school, after school program, but I'm curious about the impact and have you brought people, let's say, to All-Stars or to programs where or TNT, where they have to seek out beyond their own environment?
As a matter of fact, today is Thursday.
Yes, today is Thursday.
Yeah. So Tuesday, I was just walking down the street coming over here, and I brung, I think it was the day before. I think it was the day before that, but no matter what the day was, there was one of my friends and two people he knew, and he just asked where was I going, and that's all it took for him to get him and his friends to get an application.
For me, I have brought a lot of my friends or just people I don't even know to programs. Like, for example, as I graduated from DSY in April, some of my friends, like, they saw my Facebook profile picture change and they're like, what is this? Congrats. They're like telling me congrats and they don't even know what happened. So I started telling them, and like I have friends in Union and I'm giving them applications and they have already brought it back. So I guess like each one teach one, each one reach one, I guess, so.
Anybody else? Any other questions? Yes, in the back. Hadi.
What would you advise mentors when we encounter resistance from our youth?
I think.
You know your parents, they know the right thing and they're telling you the right thing, but there's that initial youth resistance. What's your advice?
I think one of the main things of how you approach a situation, especially coming from like an adult to youth, is having like evening the playing field where it feels more like a partnership than like a guide. So, you know, walking with someone rather than telling them to follow you, sometimes it's a lot easier on, you know, bringing them to the situation. So I wouldn't say put yourself in their shoes if you've never been in their shoes. If you do that, then now you get even more resistance, like, oh, I've done, but you really haven't. That makes it more difficult. I mean that well, honestly. I feel like if you let them know, like, really, if you want this honesty out of them, that vulnerability, that you have to be there too. So if you're willing to partner with them, I think that's the best way it'll work.
I agree with what she said, and also to add on, it's all about building the bonding or building the relationship. I believe that everybody has a soft side to them. People just try to play like they're rebellious, especially us youth. But a lot of times you can get us to cooperate, but we have to be comfortable with the person that we're going to cooperate with. So a lot of times you just have to build that relationship or build that bonding or build that trust so that they can trust you enough to say that, okay, so my mentor told me this. I'm going to actually take the time to follow it and see where it leads me. So
Just to build off on that, when it comes to a mentor, usually a good mentor, every time I leave that mentor, I have learned something for that day. That is a very good, or even week or every 3 days. Every time I've gone to him or her, I've learned something. And like she said, there are some teens who act as if they're rebellious, to act like they have a hard side, they actually have a soft side. Those are the ones you have to actually notice. Just look at them, look how they speak to their friends, look how they speak to their family, and just notice them. And then maybe you'll know how to deal with them and how not to deal with them. And then there's a saying that's called, the truth is a hard pill to swallow. So if they're in their stubborn ways, if they're in their resistive ways, like I said before, only thing you can tell them is the truth, and then they have to go find it themselves.
Have any of you had a personal experience of somebody breaking through your own stubbornness, or you're all talking as if it's the other kids, so I'm just wondering if you had an experience where somebody was able to get close to you even when you were saying not so much?
There's one particular situation. I'm trying to think of others, but my aunt definitely. I lived with her for a couple of months, and she's like this religious person, and it's just kind of like everywhere is kind of like, let's go to prayer service, or let's go. And I don't mind because, I love that, but, sometimes it's a little bit too much. And so sometimes I just feel like I didn't want to do it, but then I realized, like he said, sometimes you just got to tell them the truth and let them learn on their own. And that would happen to me. I had to kind of like go through my own experience to understand that, yeah, she was right. Yeah, this is what I probably should have been doing a long time ago. So sometimes, yeah, that was my situation.
We have time for one last question back there.
Hello, my name is Maurice Thompson. I am the founder of SAVER, which means Stop Anger, Unfold Violence, Educate, and Redeem. I can relate to what you're saying because sometimes I come into resistance. And I think that patience also plays a part. I'd just like to take a minute to just ask SAVER to stand up. They're here with me today. These are some of the kids, stand up, that I have with me today. And these are my singers, my actors, my entertainers. And one thing that they do is show me a lot of love. My birthday, they come and show me a lot of love, and they tell me that they love me. So, and I love them too. So that's very important. They're very talented. So my organization, what I don't have, I come to another organization like All-Star Project that has certain curriculums that can work with us. So I work together with the All-Star Project. I'm with you, Ms. Strickland, Jim. These are the people that support me, and then I support them too as well. But resistance, I always come into resistance, and that's why I have gray hair. So, thank you.
All right, let's thank you all very much. Let's thank our young people.